Imagine finding a briefcase full of cash in your backyard and whispering to your friend, "Don't tell a soul." An hour later, there are 100,000 random dudes with shovels standing on your lawn, smashing your fence and trampling your flowers. That's pretty much how California started. In January 1848, an ordinary carpenter named James Marshall was messing around in the water by a sawmill and found a yellow rock. He bit it, hit it with an axe, pure gold. Marshall and his boss, Sutter, locked themselves in a shack, shook hands, and swore to take the secret to their graves. But keeping a secret like that in the mid-19th century was like trying to hide an elephant in your pants pocket. Within a week, rumors leaked, and a month later, half the planet quit their jobs, abandoned their families, and lost their minds to run toward nowhere holding leaky wash basins. Let's ride. This is the story of the Great Madness. Getting to California back then was harder than flying to Mars in a leaky barrel. No planes, no trains. There were only 3 routes, and all of them led straight to the cemetery. Option 1, cross all of America on foot or in a wagon. Brutal heat, Native Americans, snakes, and 0 customer service. People ate their horses, then their own leather boots, while the roadsides were lined with miles of abandoned junk and human skeletons. The second path, sail a ship all the way around South America, 9 months in the ocean on a rotting piece of trash boat where rats ate the supplies faster than the passengers, and the only entertainment was scurvy and stagnant water. The third way, trek through the Panamanian jungle, where malaria, mosquitoes, and venomous snakes waited with open arms. Long story short, only the meanest, dirtiest, and luckiest punks of their time made it to the finish line, ready to chew dirt for cash. Before the rush, San Francisco was a depressing village of 200 people, where the most exciting event was a new hay wagon rolling into town. A year later, 100,000 lunatics crashed the party. The city grew faster than a teenager's pimples. Instead of houses, it was a labyrinth of leaky tents and plywood boxes. But the real circus was down at the harbor. Sailors and ship captains threw their hats into the water the second they dropped anchor and ran into the mountains to dig for gold. The harbor became a graveyard for hundreds of abandoned ghost ships. Nobody was guarding them, so sketchy entrepreneurs converted them into floating bars, brothels, and even prisons. There were no roads at all. In the fall, the streets turned into a swamp of liquid muck. Historical records say mules and horses drowned completely in these puddles, along with their wagons, while people walked over sacks of flour, using them as bridges. If you think having a pile of gold in your pocket made you the king of life, California quickly slapped that arrogance right out of you. Money completely lost its value because gold was everywhere, but there was nothing to damn eat. Prices skyrocketed into the stratosphere. Want a regular chicken egg? Drop $3. In today's money, that's nearly $100 a pop. A loaf of bread cost as much as a primed cow back in New York. Renting a piece of shit tent set you back $1,000 a month. Gold miners slept packed like sardines on the filthy floor, paying for it with their daily rations of precious gold dust. There were no fresh veggies, so scurvy mowed people down by the dozen. Sheriffs and doctors threw away their badges and stethoscopes and went to pan for gold. Total anarchy. A glass of clean water could cost more than a bucket of whiskey, and people were ready to duel to the death over a bar of soap. The life of a typical gold miner, lazily nicknamed a 48er, consisted of 100% pure suffering. This wasn't some romantic Clint Eastwood movie. You're standing for 12 hours in a freezing mountain river, waist deep in icy water. Your hands are covered in throbbing blisters, your back won't straighten up, and mud is squishing inside your boots. You pan tons of liquid sludge through an iron sieve just for a few shiny specks of dust. Your entire diet is stale biscuits and salted pork that makes your stomach explode. You're surrounded by hundreds of the same angry, unwashed dudes who are staring at your shovel 8 with a clear desire to use it for something violent. Constant paranoia. The second you find a fat nugget, your camp neighbor starts smiling at you suspiciously sweet while sharpening his massive Bowie knife. Every single day at the digs was a test to see if you'd survive the night. In the evening, this entire insane herd crawled into the local saloon to blow the gold they made that day. A California saloon was just a shack made of wooden planks that smelled like cheap tobacco, stale booze, and unwashed bodies. The local whiskey was so brutal that they laced it with gunpowder, red pepper, and chewing tobacco for that authentic cowboy aroma. This toxic garbage completely made people lose their minds. Card games always ended the exact same way. Someone pulled a revolver, someone grabbed a shovel, and a classic Royal Rumble kicked off. Teeth flew across the room like confetti at a carnival. Furniture turned into toothpicks, and the piano player in the corner kept jamming out a happy tune while dodging flying bottles. Human life at the digs was worth less than a good pickaxe. There were no laws. All arguments were settled on the spot with lead and fists. Pure, primal chaos. And now for the ultimate irony of this story. Do you know who became California's first official millionaire? A guy named Sam Brannan. And do you know how much gold he dug up with his own hands? Not a single gram. Brannan was a crafty businessman. The second he found out about the gold, he didn't run to the river with a shovel. Instead, he quietly went and bought up every single shovel, sieve, bucket, and pan within 120 miles. He got them for 20 cents apiece, and when the crowd of frantic people flooded into San Francisco, Brannan walked out into the square holding a bottle of gold dust and screamed, "Gold! Gold on the American River!" The public lost their minds, rushed his store, and Sam started selling those exact same 20-cent shovels for $15 each. Now that is what we call savage marketing and God-level management. Another smart dude who struck it rich during the rush was Levi Strauss. He brought heavy canvas fabric to California to sell for tents. But he quickly realized that cowboys didn't give a crap about tents, but their pants were ripping every single day from crawling over sharp rocks. Levi used the fabric to sew the first heavy-duty work pants reinforced with metal rivets. That's how the legendary Levi's jeans were born, making him billions while the gold miners were dying of dysentery. Eventually, by 1855, the rush deflated. The surface gold dried up, giant corporations rolled in with heavy machinery, and the regular working dudes went home with empty pockets and a whole collection of nasty diseases. The moral of the story? If a gold rush is coming, don't look for gold, sell shovels. Subscribe to the channel before a corrupt sheriff catches you and forces you to dig a ditch from now until tomorrow.